What is up? You have found We Like the Blazers. I am Brandon Goldner, and today we have a very special guest. We are honored to have U.S. Senator representing Oregon, Ron Wyden, on the podcast. But I wanted to get right into that, but also wanted to note that today we also have Conor Bergin joining as co-host. As I mentioned last week, Ryan needs to step away to focus on work for a while. As I also said last week, completely understandable that he prioritizes the job that pays him over the job that pays him in good vibes. But without any further delay, let's get to our interview with U.S. Senator Ron Wyden.
Hey, guys.
Hey, Senator Wyden.
Great talk a little ball on Friday morning after you've been up all night for 3 days.
Oh my gosh. No better time.
We had votes until 1 or 2 in the morning.
Oh my gosh. Well, hey, we appreciate you taking the time to do this. Thank you.
Be great. Be fun.
Well, we're here with United States Senator Ron Wyden. You've represented the great state of Oregon since 1996, but for the purposes of this podcast, you are, in fact, a huge Trailblazers fan. So I wanted to start with this. Lots of us started playing basketball or following basketball growing up when we were kids or when we were younger. So I was curious, what's your connection to the game of basketball, either as someone maybe you played, maybe you just shot hoops, maybe you were on a team, or maybe just your connection to the sport as a fan?
I grew up for years and years believing that I could play in the NBA. And it stems from the fact that my dad was a journalist. I was born in the Midwest. We lived all over. And we came west, and we lived very close by a junior high school. And there was a basketball on the side of the gym, and I just picked it up and started shooting. And I shot and shot and shot for literally hours, on end. And I was a pretty shy kid at the time. And I said, this is a chance to meet people, meet girls, have fun, get acquainted with my classmates. And I have a book coming out in a few weeks. It's called It Takes Chutzpah. And part of my early thinking was I had the chutzpah to think I could play in the NBA. I went to college on a basketball scholarship. I went to Cal Santa Barbara, dreaming of playing in the NBA. My first freshman game, I got 25 points. I thought maybe this can happen. But by my sophomore season, I was riding the bench. And when you come to my Senate office, though, you'll see something on the wall that always makes me smile. I got a 4-year scholarship offer from Gonzaga, which, of course, is a big basketball power. I put it up on the wall because what it proves to me is that in the United States, we are strong enough and good enough that even a Jewish kid gets a shot at playing with the Jesuits.
I love that. What position did you play in college?
Well, that was a problem. I was 6'4", and I kind of wasn't quick enough to be a guard. I wasn't strong enough to be a forward. In high school, they moved me around a couple of times, and by my senior season, I went back to being a shooting forward. We had a terrific team, John and Richard Benyon, wonderful friends and players, went on to the Y, and we talk basketball to this day. The other thing that's kind of interesting that has an Oregon connection is we had an all-star game after my high school season, and my roommate was Bill Drozdiak. Bill Drozdiak was a great 6'5" guard who played for the University of Oregon back in the Stan Love days. And he went on to Oregon, and I went to Cal Santa Barbara.
Nice. I can relate to the, not tall enough to be a post, not quick enough to be a guard. I was like 6'1" by the time I was a freshman, so I had to develop my three-point shot as an adult. So it sounds like you're a hooper. We know that President Obama is a hooper. We also know, we've seen video of Senator Bernie Sanders. He can hoop. But I wanted to ask you, who are some people on Capitol Hill who we might not expect who play ball? Is Senator Merkley getting out there and playing? Is Congresswoman Bonamici breaking ankles on the court? Give us the inside scoop.
Well, Ed Markey from Massachusetts is a very good basketball player. He actually campaigned on it. And it's a little special story with Ed. He had, when we were both in the House, he's in the Senate, pro shooting contest. And I was a respectable free throw shooter in high school, like, high 70s, 77, 78, 79, but I was not great. But we had a free throw shooting in the house when we were both there. And I was walking through with my son, and it was proctored, and they just kept track of it. And I made 47 out of 50 shots. Now, I live in fear that someday I'm going to get brought into a charitable contest and I'll shoot a bunch of bricks and they'll call for a big investigation. But Eddie Markey thought that he won that free throw shooting contest when he came in at around 45. And to this day, he tells people he's always been damaged and hurt because he didn't win. And he said, Ron didn't tell us about it until the end. He should have told us.
Do you have witnesses for that 47 out of 50 mark?
Actually, we do. And they gave me some little treat or something like that. But there's actually some congressional testimony on it. Billy Tozan was chairman of the communications committee, and he repeated the whole story that I just did. And now it's part of the congressional documents.
Oh man, I wish my best high school performances were a part of congressional documents.
Well, it goes to show that in basketball and in life, a blind squirrel can occasionally find an acorn.
Well, Senator Wyden, there's a new basketball team in town, the Rip City Remix of the G League. Have you gotten a chance to go out and attend a game at the Child Center at University of Portland yet?
As it happens, I'm going in the next couple of days. My friend Devon Pouncey invited me to join him on the TV broadcast for a bit, and it's just great that Portland's getting more sports, and the remix is going to be a really intimate setting. It's going to give fans a chance to get up close and personal, and that's really good. The thing about sports, it's all about personal. I made a big commitment to getting a WNBA team, because I thought that, Portland has been a huge center for women's sports. And in the winter of 2023, I brought the commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, out, and we packed a place called the Sports Bra, not the Sports Bar, the Sports Bra. And the Ducks and the Beavers and the Thorns and the Blazers and just people and every nook and cranny of the place. Kathy Engelbert and what do you think? And she smiled and said, I've never seen anything like it. And it'll be one of my best memories of my time in public service that night we put together a wonderful opportunity for basketball in Portland. And I can tell you, summer 2026, you're going to see a lot of fans stop at the Sports Bra over on Broadway and get a burger and a brew, and then go watch the game. And the next day they'll watch the Thorns at the stadium.
Yeah, on the subject of the WNBA team, the team has been announced, but they haven't announced the name yet. So if somebody, just to put you on the spot, if somebody said, Senator Wyden, we need you to pick the name for the new WNBA team, what would be your answer?
Well, I'm going to leave the nickname to the marketers. But, what I can tell you is I have town hall meetings in all of Oregon's 36 counties. And what we have said now that we've moved from the period when we're all so excited, the ticket sales are really off the charts. I'm asking Oregonians for their suggestions at our town hall meetings to give me their idea. And I said, I have been to every Fred Meyer in Oregon for a rotisserie chicken. I said, stop me at one of the checkout lines and give me your ideas.
With your schedule, do you get a lot of opportunities to watch the team play? And when you do?
Yeah. Well, let me tell you, because he passed recently and he was so kind to me. Great memories of Bill Walton, and I got to know Mo Lucas a little bit. We worked out the Multnomah Athletic Club, and so the 77 championship is always a huge one. And Bill would always be on the road doing sports and stuff, and we'd see each other in the airport, particularly these airports in the Midwest with these really long, walkways and the like. And Bill being 6'11", he'd see me and start waving, hi, Ron, hi, Ron. And then as he got closer, he'd smile and go, Ron, be more liberal, be more liberal.
Oh, that's great.
I love them. We want to have some kind of statue for he and Mo Lucas right in front of Moda.
Yeah, you wrote after Bill Walton's passing this past spring, you wrote a great column calling for the Blazers to erect a statue of Bill Walton and Maurice Lucas, which I like the idea of teammates. So many times statues are just individuals, but I love the idea of making it both Maurice and Bill.
Feel free, guys, to talk it up on your show.
We definitely will.
For sure, yeah.
That was slightly jovial, but semi-serious, because I really share your view. Stern and I were talking about how you really do these kinds of things and send the best possible message. And in a time when there's so much polarization and the like, we thought Mo Lucas and Bill Walton would be a perfect message for the community and the state to send right now.
Yeah, Can you talk about, did you get any sort of response from the Blazers about that letter in the Oregonian?
We didn't get a formal one. We know people have been talking about it. I mean, obviously this is Jody Allen's, call and Bert, always weighs in, Bert Goldie and the like. So we've heard them talking, but we haven't gotten any formal response. No.
Yeah, I do know they will have a Bill Walton tribute night on March 9th.
Yeah, that's going to be great. And I commend Ms. Walton and the team and the organization for doing that. That'll help. We'll use that as an opportunity to spread the word about a statue.
And speaking of the area in and around Moda Center, the Blazers just entered into a partnership with Albina Vision Trust. They're a nonprofit. I know that you're very familiar with their work because you have supported their work trying to repair some of the harms caused by the construction and continued presence of I-5 in Lower Albina. And I also know you work to get federal funding for that I-5 project near the Moda Center to cover the interstate and start reconnecting those communities. Can you talk about the work that folks like yourself are doing to help make these plans a reality, and why is this so important for Portland's community?
Well, this is remedying a wrong. This was something that shouldn't have happened in the first place, and everybody remembers the big promises from Emmanuel and all that kind of thing. And I really commend Mr. Knight and Rukiah Adams and others who are, taking the lead on this, because if we do this right, this is going to be a crown jewel for Portland going forward in the years ahead, because we know that wrongs were done. The community didn't get, a fair shake. And now what we're doing is talking about trying to focus on the kind of essentials that are going to make this a spectacular place, not just as a historical memory, but a place right now where families can get quality, affordable housing, good paying jobs, access to healthcare and essential services. And what we can do is find ways to build the most significant financial base we can for the kind of community we want. This is being led by Rukiah, and find as many vibrant businesses that want to make a long-term future in an area that we think is going to be very promising, inner Northeast Portland, for decades to come.
Yeah, it's really exciting to hear that and to see what inner Northeast could become. And yeah, I really appreciate your work on that.
And then it's the other side of the coin with respect to the future. Downtown is incredibly important, but Northeast is incredibly important too. And the two together are two sides of a bright economic future.
Yeah, and I'll say really briefly, as someone who works in a planning department now on the East Coast with the city of New Haven and worked on a grant, a Reconnecting Communities grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation to try to reconnect communities that are essentially cut in half by an interstate, finding ways to make those neighborhoods more livable, more connected, so people can travel safely and really live fulfilled lives. That matters a lot to me too. So like I said, I really appreciate your work on that.
this is, to sum it up, shameful, history where Lower Albina neighborhoods were destroyed. We also destroyed generational wealth for Black Portlanders. And I'm just proud as chairman of the Senate Finance Committee, at least for a few more weeks, and then as ranking member of the Finance Committee, start righting those wrongs.
Right on. Hey, we really appreciate your time. We know you're busy, so this will be our last question, but it's a big one. It's a two-parter. The first part of this question is, what is your favorite Blazers memory? And then the second question is, and maybe we already know the answer to this, but who is your favorite Blazer of all time?
19 championship was a moment that we all really treasure. I got very close over the years to Larry Weinberg and Harry Glickman. And, when you asked that question, those memories of Harry and Larry, I think a couple of Jewish guys, who worked hard, played by the rules, always wanted to do what was best for the community. Those were incredible moments, that parade in 1977. Bill Walton stands out, of course, but I really liked those starters for the 77 team. And Bill Walton, when I think of Bill Walton, I think of Mo Lucas. Those two are the ones I remember.
Really, one more, follow-up question. From the current Blazers team, lots of really exciting young players, and just honestly a team that you can really feel good rooting for. Who's your favorite player from this current iteration of the Portland Trail Blazers?
Well, I think that one's a fairly straightforward call. Shaedon Sharpe really looks like he's going to have. We were worried because he had some core injuries and the like, and was out for some games, but what a talent and what a quality guy, really low key, team oriented. I think he's got a chance to be up there in the Blazers superstar history.
Yeah, the reason why we weren't able to make it to the NBA is because there's guys like him out there dunking the ball like that. So
I had more challenges than that, but there's no question that Shaedon Sharpe, when he hits the court. I don't know if you saw one of the opening games, he stuffed on Julius Randle, and Julius Randle didn't even try. The bass play I'm talking about? Julius Randle didn't even try to go up with Shaedon.
Oh, no, he didn't want any part of that.
I never had that problem where people were afraid to go up with me.
Well, we've kept you long enough, Senator Wyden. We appreciate you coming on. Be sure to check out his new book when it drops in a few weeks called It Takes Chutzpah. Again, Senator Wyden, thank you so much.
Take it easy. Thanks for your good program.
Thank you to Senator Ron Wyden. Gosh, it was so great to have him on the show. Appreciate him taking the time. With me, not as always, but as will be, who I have across from me, it's no one other than Associate Editor of Blazers Edge and reporter Conor Bergin. Conor, what's up, brother?
Hey, man, thank you so much for having me on the show, for, as you said, for going forward. I'm very excited to be with you.
Yeah, so I mentioned it in the last episode, but Ryan has to take a step back for a bit because his work is just bumping. And like I said last week, I am a little bit offended that Ryan is prioritizing the job that pays him rather than the job that pays him in vibes. But it's something I can completely respect. So Conor, you're going to be here with us moving forward. I know that people kind of already know who you are, but just in case they don't, can you give me like the 30 to 60-second rundown of your deepest, darkest no, just kidding, of who you are and what you do for Blazers Edge and your connection to the Blazers?
Yeah, this is my own elevator pitch. I am the associate editor of Blazers Edge. I took on that role this year, but I've been with Blazers Edge for the past 3 years, and this is the first year that I have actually gotten a credential, so I've been going to practically every practice, every game, writing reports from all those meetings with the team. I grew up in Portland, Cleveland High, Cleveland High School Clarion newspaper, and then went to Loyola.
I went to high school in Corvallis, so I don't know why I'm wooing that, but whatever.
No,
for the people who did go there, then woo.
It's state camaraderie, you know.
That's right. Yeah.
And then went to Loyola Chicago for journalism school, and have been working at Blazers Edge since before I even graduated. So, I really enjoy writing like in-depth, kind of featurey, like human interest type stories about basketball. And I've been getting a great opportunity this year to do that with all this access with the team. And I had actually been itching to get into podcasting and get those reps in. So this has been great timing, Brandon, for you to have me join the show.
Well, you're going to get more reps in than maybe you wanted. But man, I so appreciate you coming on. And, you know, we have been working together at Blazers Edge for last year. And then this year when I came on as a junior editor, a minor editor, we've been working more closely together. And I just appreciate you and your approach. One quick question before we let folks know who the guest was. So you are, in fact, the first credentialed reporter that Blazers Edge has had for the last 10 years since we had Ben Golliver and he moved on to Sports Illustrated and then to Washington Post. What have you learned? And I know it hasn't been super duper long, but what have you learned about the art and science of reporting on a team since you have been doing it, you know, more frequently this season? Like, what comes to mind for you as far as what you've been learning?
That's a really good question. I've been collecting thoughts. My little I've been developing a manifesto of a young reporter's manifesto. One thing that comes to mind is I've really been trying to. For one, okay, I grew up a Blazers fan, so I think my lens is I'm trying to remove that and be an objective, reporter.
You know what? Keep going, but I want to argue with you on this. Maybe not today, but a different time. Keep going.
Well, it's funny that I'm now on a podcast called We Like the Blazers. So like, it's definitely
the royal we. Okay, it doesn't have to be you.
No, but I mean, I grew up liking the Blazers.
About the Blazers. Yeah. You should change the podcast name. That's what it is.
Well, so no, the podcast name stays. I grew up liking the team. I think generally my lens as a reporter for almost any subject is slightly positive. And so this year I've really been trying to get better at when to critique and when, you have to be negative. And then one thing that's come along with that is asking negative questions. And I think there is a way to ask to get the same information you're looking for without insulting anybody or without putting anybody on the spot in a way that can get them in trouble and I think in the long run, they'll respect you more because they know that like these guys are people. And like I said, I'm trying to be objective, but I'm trying to be fair and have their interests in mind. And so that's one thing is I think there is ways to ask harder questions without coming across as like an a-hole. Especially as I'm new, like I don't want them to be like, well, who's this dude? I don't even know him. And he's asking me this ridiculous question.
Right. I mean, you don't want to come in there and like swing your ego around and be like, look at me, everybody. One more question on this, but like as you're talking, it reminds me a little bit about when you have to give feedback to someone that you're working with. They could be your boss, they could be your direct report, they could be your colleague. When you have to give feedback that may be objective and may be true, but it may not be the easiest to give. And I find that challenging, as I think most people do who aren't total sociopaths find that challenging to give that objective feedback, even when it's not positive. When you are asking those more objective questions, those questions that may have a more difficult answer, is there a mindset that you get into, or is there something that you're thinking and kind of holding in your heart as you ask that to ensure that you're grounded and that it's not rooted in something mean, but that it's rooted in kind of your curiosity and wanting to know?
Yeah, I think I look for kind of angles to ask it that are maybe, well, it's hard to slightly explain exactly what I'm trying to say, but for an example, like when the Blazers had that horrible game against the Memphis Grizzlies, that was about a week ago or 2 weeks ago now.
They only lost by like 50, Conor. I don't see what the big deal was.
They lost by 50. That was such a strange press conference to go and be a part of afterwards with Chauncey Billups. That was like my first, like the Golden State one to open the season. He was mad, and it was like a rough beginning to the season where people were like, oh my God, but he was pretty calm still. And the Memphis one, he came in, his first answer, he dropped the F-bomb. I was kind of like, okay, like here we go. Like this is kind of a tense moment. And Memphis they were like punking the Blazers. Like they were showboating on the home floor at the Moda Center. Like Santi Aldama and Scottie Pippen Jr., like not even super established players in the NBA were like throwing like between the legs. It was like they had a 2-on-0 fast break and they threw it between the legs, and then this dude dunked and Chauncey Billups called timeout. So for that question, I wanted to be like, how do you feel that these players were just like essentially punking you on your own floor? And maybe if I'm a few years later, I can just straight up ask that and feel more comfortable. But I didn't want to like come across, super, like we said, like,
yeah, totally.
Bitter. So I asked Chauncey, I phrased it in the way I brought up that play. And I said, do plays like that, because I know Chauncey used to be a player. Like I said, do plays like that fire you up as a competitor? Like, does that speak to you as a competitor? And
what a great way to put the question, by the way.
Yeah, like I put it on his terms. Like kind of turned it in. Yeah. Turned it into like
let him answer it. Yeah.
Like I wasn't like, hey, they just embarrassed you. How do you feel? Yeah. Like it was just like, what does that do anything for you? And he could have just been like, no, and like kind of side brushed it if he wanted to. But he did say, he was like, you wouldn't want to see me out there. Like if that had happened, like I wish I was playing. Which essentially I was like, damn, he said he's maybe trying to start a fight. So like the answer, he basically said, he didn't say it, but he hinted that he would have started a fight. So like I got the information that I needed. That he did feel a certain way about those players showboating on the Blazers home floor.
Yeah. Nice. Well, that's cool. And I'm excited to get to talk to you this season and beyond and get to learn more about your process and for us to talk about the Blazers, whether we like them or whether we are just perfectly objective about them. However you want to get into this, whether, you're listening or you're watching is, everyone approaches the Blazers differently. And, and for some people it is their professional job. And I completely respect that. Well, Conor, it's really good to have you. Anything else that you wanted to say before we bounce today? It's Friday, November 22. I'm recording from DC. You're recording from Portland. Anything else before we pack it up for this time?
Yeah, no, I just want to say thanks again, Brandon, for giving me the opportunity to join the show, and what an exciting first episode to join. I kind of laughed because Brandon initially texted me and said, hey, do you want to join this podcast for a while? And I said, for sure. And then 2 hours later, he was like, hey, we got our first guest for a day from now. It's Senator Ron Wyden. So I was like, oh my God, okay. So what an exciting first episode to be a part of. So thank you again.
Dude, I honestly, it was a lot of fun, and it was way more fun that you were here, and I'm really happy that you're joining for this. We're gonna have a good time this season, and if you want to have a good time this season, you can always do that. You can find us at WeLikeTheBlazers.com. We are now also on BlueSky. I'm still figuring out how you do the domain thing on BlueSky, because now my personal domain on BlueSky has become WeLikeTheBlazers.com, but it's my personal account. So I guess find us on BlueSky at WeLikeTheBlazers.com, and it's actually just me. You can find Conor, if you just search Conor Bergin, that's CONORBERGIN, and then it's like the at BlueSky something. But I think if you, this is a great outro, by the way, Conor. This is the good stuff. If you go in the search bar and search for him, you're going to find him. But yeah, catch us on any podcatcher. We appreciate you all. It was really good to chat. And yeah, thanks again to Senator Ron Wyden and his staff for making that happen. Until next time, I'm Brandon, that's Conor, and go Blazers.